I tell my mom, like, okay, I got a job. And she's like very happy. And then I go to the firm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord. And then I get there and like I walk into, there's like an office for candidate attorneys.
Okay.
So when I get there, there's this feeling of people here are depressed.
Okay.
And then and you're excited. You're new and you're excited. And then you hear comments like, oh, that won't last long. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay. And then when I walk into that office for candidate attorneys, there's like a board, like it's a whiteboard. And then on the top it says, remember the trail of your lies.
Okay.
I'm like, remember the
Trail of your lies.
Aren't
What's
we,
going on?
Aren't we supposed to be ethical?
Yes. Like, what do you mean?
And then, okay, the director comes in. And then the director comes in and he says, okay, welcome, whatever, whatever.
Were you the only person that was...
It was me and this other girl.
Okay.
It was just us.
All right.
And then I'm going through the files. And then the files were last updated maybe 4 months ago.
What?
Which is weird.
Uh-huh.
And then I asked what happened to the previous candidate attorneys. And they left. I'm like, all of them. Like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. So towards the end of the day, the director comes in and he says that he doesn't have enough attorneys, right? Because he's got different cases. I think Palm Ridge Court, other courts, right?
Sure.
And then he says to us, he wants us to go and represent these clients. I'm like, oh my days, like what's going on now? And then I'm like, we don't have a right of appearance. Like you haven't applied for it, right? And he says, no, you just use my certificate. And then when the magistrate asks you if you have your right of, just say yes. And I said, oh no, I'm not doing this. And so he gives us the files, right? And then he gives us the files and he gives us the robes, and I'm just quiet. And I'm like, so then I call my brother and I tell my brother, because he also did a BCom law and stuff like that, and he worked for the Gauteng legislature. And he says to me, are you thinking of doing it? I'm like, no. He's like, you better not do it. It's unethical. And if you get caught, like there's serious repercussions.
You're fresh in your career.
I'm fresh, right? And then I go back home, and then my director calls me. I don't answer the phone. He calls me, and then my brother comes to fetch me, and he drives me all the way back to the firm. And I hand in the files, I hand in the robe, and I'm like, bye guys. It was nice knowing you, but I'm not doing this, right? And after that, I had another interview with quite a big firm. It's one of the largest firms in the world, actually, right?
Oh, nice.
I had an interview with them, and it was an okay interview, but I didn't feel like it was a proper fit for me, especially culturally. Yeah. So I opted not to take that offer.
So you declined
I
it?
I did, actually.
Wow.
Because to be honest with you, I think for me, I always pray for a positive working environment, right?
Sure.
And being a believer, I listen. I feel like I listen when God speaks to me.
Sure.
I could see from the interview that no, this is gonna go south because of the way that I was spoken to. The way I was being questioned. I was questioned I was questioned about my religion, whether I belong to certain societies. I was questioned about my political affiliations, but more so I could see, looking at the people that worked at the firm, that no,
it's not for you.
it's not for me. I'm not saying that I say it's a big opportunity, but something's telling me that no. I was like, okay. And then I started applying at insurance companies and, financial service providers. And then I applied for Sanlam. I think there were like 5 open positions. It was internships. And then after that, got interviews for 3. And then I passed 2 interviews, got 2 offers, and I picked from the 2.
Okay.
And I picked compliance.
Nice.
And I was like, and I had a good feeling about it, And I was like, and I'm like, no, I should choose this one. And I feel like let God lead you.
Wow. Your story is really so beautiful, scary, and brave. Because I feel like because of how the profession is, the legal profession is, it's so hard to find articles because people believe that articles is the truth, the way, and the end of careers in law, right? So it's so hard you having to actually decline
I did.
an offer that many people
Would have
want,
wanted,
you know,
yes.
or pray for, right? And many people would probably judge and say, why didn't you take the offer? I feel like that was very authentic and brave of you, you know, sticking to your values. Because most of the times we chase titles, we chase money, all of those things. And the fact that you trusted your, I won't say gut feeling because you are a believer, I would say the Holy Spirit in you to guide you and say, you know what, this is not it. And also, I think I love that it speaks to, it's not every single thing that glitters that is gold.
That is called very true.
You know, and I love that you're like, okay, no, thank you. You know, there's some person who said, I think it was Oriela. I don't know if you know her, Oriela Ngumalo. She's also in the profession doing great things. She said, in the start of your career, be selfish with yourself. Ungavumi ngawe.
Ungavumi ngawe.
You know, and I feel like your story is a true reflection of ungavumi ngawe, because also many times when we're being interviewed, we don't interview people back.
Exactly.
You just operate from desperation because you want a job, but you don't realize that that's your opportunity to actually interview these people,
Exactly.
to actually assess if you fit in culture. It is a big thing, you know. I always say to people, for me, career is a very important part of your life because it also impacts how you show up in your family, in other relationships, and all of that. So if you are just taking it because this is what's there, you realize that you impact your whole existence.
It's true.
You know, so I really commend you for that. And I love that also God did show up for you to say, my child. And I mean, at the end of the day, in as much as you declined it, I'm sure it hurt a bit. Would you?
It did hurt, but I think also we need to pay attention to how you're being spoken to.
Sure.
You know? Are you being spoken to as an individual or just a means to an end? You know? You know, they need you to fill the position now. And we always hear stories of people being emotionally abused, candidate attorneys. You know, I have a friend who's gone through, who's gone through that. And you can see that, no, man, no, these individuals are not nice people, you know? And yeah, it's there's a lot of things going on. So you need to be protective, you need to protect yourself.
Sure.
You know, and just have faith to say, I know God has better plans for me.
Sure.
You know, I know God will put me in a place where I'll look back and be like, oh, but it doesn't matter now.
Sure.
You know? So it was just that.
Yeah. So now you're applying for these internships, right? So there's a stigma apparently around internships that it's like people don't like internships because it almost feels like bottom of the barrel, right?
Yeah.
So what then pushes you to actually still apply for internships? Because other people could have said, okay, you could try other law firms or you could try applying for other real jobs. Why go for internships?
I did try applying to other law firms.
Sure.
And I hadn't really received any positive feedback.
Sure.
Right. So I applied to an internship because I feel like an internship, to be honest, we shouldn't look at them in a negative way because it's a way of learning.
Sure.
If they take you, walk in there and they'll teach you. Right.
Sure.
So that's what happened with me. I walked in, and because God is God, I walked in and my manager was absolutely amazing.
Sure.
You know, was a male, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, he had an open door policy. You know, you could learn. You know, I remember my mom making comments about how I work at my grandmother's house.
because that's how comfortable it was.
Comfortable. And you would walk in and he would share knowledge. He himself, you walk into his office and there's so many certificates. He also went to UJ.
Oh, nice.
You walk into his office, there's so many certificates. He did that, he did this, and I'm like, and he would share knowledge. And he would tell me, he's like, no, you start here, but this is where you can go.
Sure.
You know? And I was like, wow, you know, I'm actually in the right place. And yeah.
And when they returned you, how did that feel like?
Thank you.
When they returned you, how did you feel? Did you feel like, oh my God, I want to stay in this longer? Or did you feel like I'm just going to accept this because this is what I have on offer? And during your internship, did you stop applying for articles and etc.? Or did you still continue applying for articles, hoping that you get something whilst you learn?
I actually stopped applying.
Nice.
I did. I stopped applying for articles.
Uh-huh.
And when they did take me, because I think your work ethics says a lot.
Sure.
I think for me, I knew even before that, hey, I'm going to be retained. Because, no, man, if you have a good work ethic, they're going to want to keep you.
Sure.
So when I got the offer, I was very happy. But the problem with me is like I said, I get bored very easily,
Sure.
While I was there, I think doing, my internship, I asked my boss, I was like, so, because we were back office, right? We were doing compliance and whatever, making sure that the cases were, in accordance to laws and whatever. So I got to the point where I wanted to understand, what are the financial advisors doing? What is it that they do?
Okay.
I'm being told, but I want to know, like, the
You
process.
became curious.
I became very curious. And then I asked around, and he was like, no, there's this wealth management course. And I'm like, okay, how can I? He's like, no, we can enroll you. It's from Sanlam Academy, right? And then I started learning and understanding it from the advisor's point of view.
Okay.
And I fell in love.
So it was never part of your plan. It just became something that you became curious of within your internship.
Yes, I got so curious.
Wow.
And then I started doing research. And then from doing that research, I realized, okay, because I think after that, we changed managers, right?
Sure.
And this lady came in, and her email signature, girl,
was it poor
girl,
peg?
it was a lot. It was a lot. And she's still the head of legal and compliance.
Okay.
So I was working under her now. She, law graduate, right? And she did her articles, and then she got admitted. And then after she got admitted, she didn't stay in practice. She went straight into insurance. And then she went and she did compliance management. After that, she did CFP.
Sure.
It was a chartered financial planner.
Okay.
When I found out about that, I was like, okay, so there's another, like,
a completely different role.
And it's just the designation itself is it's very good.
Sure.
The designation itself is just, it's an esteemed, designation within the financial services industry. So I got into that you start with wealth management. So I got into that, and then I just fell in love. I was like, you know what?
This is my new love.
This is me. I'm going this way now.
So did you just tell yourself that, you know what, articles can miss me? I'm good. Or is it a thing of that you're still battling? You're like, maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Okay.
Never say never.
Okay, cool.
Maybe
but for now, you're happy with the route that you're taking.
I'm very happy. Very happy. Yeah.
A day in your life as a compliance intern, or after you got returned, how did your day look like? What did you get up to?
Day would be heading to the office.
Okay.
We also worked a hybrid model.
Okay.
It went from 2 days in the office to 3 days in the
Okay.
office. So we'd go in, you log on to the portals, and then you take cases from the main dashboard to your dashboard.
Okay.
Cases submitted by financial planners, and then you have to assess whether these cases are compliant. If they aren't, you send them back.
Okay.
And they don't like it when you send them back because they want to get paid. They want their commission.
Sure.
So you're the one who's, and we had a nickname. We were called the gatekeepers. And I liked it, but I didn't like it because people would hate us even more because we're the ones standing in between them and their money.
Sure.
So you'd assign cases to your dashboard and then clear that. And then after that, you would deal with emails towards the end of your day. And then 4 o'clock, close your laptop, you go home.
Okay. So what type of cases were you guys looking at compliance for? Was it like insurance cases?
Insurance cases. You have your investments.
Okay.
You've got your... there was a point in time where I worked in short-term insurance. I worked with those cases and also your life cover, But it's very interesting, actually, to be honest,
So you didn't have to do... I know now a lot of people are doing like compliance courses. So you learned from the internship. You didn't have to go through a process where you do like a compliance short course or something along those lines.
Not really. For us, we learned on the job.
Okay.
It was on the job training, right? And then if you wanted to do short courses, for example, they would give you the opportunity to.
Okay.
Right. For me, I chose to do wealth management.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So others were doing their RE5s, RE1s, and others were doing postgraduate qualification.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Then would they pay for you?
Excuse me. Yes, they would.
Oh, okay. That is so nice.